Welcome, everyone, to the April 27th Father, Son, and Holy Sport NFL show. This is NFL Draft Night 2023 as we guide you through the first 30 to 45 minutes, probably the top five or so. And we are live with the draft. I'm G-Man. That there is T-Money. What's up, T?
What's going on, G-Man? Live reaction from the draft here. We're going to talk who we think we should pick. We're going to react to the top five picks. It's going to be a good night here. We're back, baby. We're back.
Yeah, we are back. It's a new season. We're watching we got many multiple monitors going on. we're catching it live right with you, watching the show. And my dream team money is to be live at one of the drafts. You and I doing our live show out in the parking lot, drawing in the fans.
We might be a couple stadiums away because that place looks crazy. Kansas City is packed tonight. They spent $3 million putting up the stage and all the bars. They expect over $100 million of revenue generated in just Kansas City alone. It's going to be an exciting night, and that crowd looks ready for a good time.
Home of the NFL defending champion Kansas City Chiefs. Round one tonight starts at 8 o'clock, and we're coming to you live here. And then, of course, rounds 2 and 3 are tomorrow. Rounds 4 through 7 on Saturday, everybody. And we're going to bring you right here live. We're looking at some of the first top 10 players here in the room there, Team Money. And before we jump into this year, the first pick's going to be on the clock here shortly. Let's go back to last year, Team Money. What do you take away from last year? I got a couple thoughts for myself, but what are you thinking of when you look at last year's draft? Do you remember some of the key picks?
Oh man, last year's draft. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is how different the Jags have been. They're the first team ever to go from the first pick overall to the playoffs. So very impressed with what the Jags have done because they look like to be a perennial playoff team in the AFC now. And then you look back to, my guy Sauce Gardner, 4th pick overall for the Jets, wins Defensive Rookie of the Year. So exciting for them. A lot of these teams are back up here again. Carolina, just didn't have the quarterback situation figured out. They were 6th last year. They picked an offensive lineman, so hopefully they can protect whoever they draft first overall here this year. Seahawks, again, they actually have another top 10 pick like they did last year, but they have a different one. They have Russell Wilson's Denver Bronco pick this year in the top 10.
Yeah.
And they're actually drafting 20th. So going to be interesting night here. The drafts are always fun to see what teams and strategies that they go with. You just never know, man. It's always exciting. There's always surprises, trades, everything like that. Going to be a fantastic night.
Yeah, and I'm looking back at last year, looking at the draft here, and a couple things stick out to me, Team Money. 2 teams that really improved last year. The Jets, you mentioned Sauce Gardner. They got him with a 4th pick, and they came back with the 10 pick, got Garrett Wilson. So they had 2 of the top 10 picks, and they paid off for them, and the Jets played better. I think the Jets were a better team because of that draft. The other one that sticks out is the Giants. The Giants with that 5th pick where they got Thibodeau, and the 7th pick, where they got Evan Neal from Alabama, picked up 2 great players there within the top 7. The Giants made a run and did a great job in the playoffs.
Yeah, pretty solid. My biggest thing right now is that they paid Daniel Jones, but that's a question for another time. I'm very interested to see what the Texans do here. They didn't have a quarterback last year. They stuck with Davis Mills, and he was kind of underwhelming. And they had Derek Stingley Jr., who was okay as a rookie, but Sauce Gardner was on the board at the time, considered the number 1 cornerback. They did not take him, and now they're here again looking at a quarterback at number 2, and rumors are they're not going to take a quarterback. So going to be interesting to see what their strategy is as well.
Well, that might be rumors, but I think they're going quarterback at 2, Team Money. They got to get a quarterback. I think they're going quarterback at 2, and I'm going to come out right out of the gates, give you one of my top bets of the evening. You guys, before the draft starts, here's what I think is a lock, Team Money. I took 2 packages tonight, 2 betting packages. First, both of them have the first wide receiver drafted. Now, who do you think that is? The first wide receiver drafted.
Smith-Njigba.
Okay, so I package him in with some other picks on both of my picks. I got two betting packages. On the first one, I combine with the top two picks. Okay, so $50 to win $400. All right, first wide receiver, Smith-Njigba. Top two picks have to be in this order: Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. If that happens, $50 converts into 400. T-Money.
All right,
You like that? You like that bet?
I do, because I think if the Texans don't take him, someone will trade up. So I do like
Someone
it.
could trade up. You're right. And then my other big pick, T-Money, is based on the cornerbacks. You know, most of the time in the drafts, the fans devalue the cornerback. There's more cornerbacks taken than the fans think are going to happen. If you look at last year's draft, two of the top four were cornerbacks. The top four were defensive players. And Derek Stingley and Sauce Gardner are the two cornerbacks taken. And now this year, there's supposed to be 5 or 6 cornerbacks taken in that first round. So based on that, T-Money, I'm going to say Smith-Njigba, first wide receiver drafted, first cornerback drafted, I think is Devin Witherspoon. And I package that up with the first tight end draft, which I think is going to be Kincaid over Mayer. If that happens, $50 converts to 137. Those are my two betting packages. Put them in now, everybody. Put him in now, man, before this draft starts.
Well, I personally am a fan of Christian Gonzalez as the first cornerback.
Okay. Well, we're going to see. Yeah, I like Gonzalez.
He's very, very impressive. The cornerback out of
he's a little bigger, more Oregon. Athletic. Yeah,
but,
I know.
Witherspoon is projected in a few drafts to go further. The guy I like to pick, and I hope that listeners think about this every year, my favorite guy to really watch pre-draft, because look, Todd McShay and all these guys, that are predicting who's going to be picked here, Joel Klatt and Colin Cowherd and all these guys, and you look at to see who's going to be the NFL expert that predicts it right. I'm going to tell you who gets more accurate than most people every year. And that's Peter Schrager. All right.
Yeah. I like Peter. I like
we're
Peter.
Watching live right now, and the commissioner's coming up to start the announcement. But so the clock hasn't started yet on this first pick.
I think the clock has started.
But Peter Schrager every year, because this guy only does rumors and speculation and contacts people within organizations. He doesn't speculate. He talks to contacts. So you would like this. And the only reason I bring this up again, CJ Stroud is not projected to go to the Texans, is what he says. And Witherspoon is projected to be the first cornerback off. So you got the cornerback right, but I'm a little concerned about the Texans there.
All right. Well, Carolina moved up to number 1 overall. They got that first pick, and we've got the pick in, T-Money. That first pick is Bryce Young. Bryce Young with that first pick of the draft.
Bryce Young with the first pick of the draft. Right.
What do you think, man? The Carolina Panthers go for that quarterback. What do you think? They got Adam Thielen now. They got Adam Thielen, DJ Shark, and Terrace Marshall Jr. So they got some good receivers there.
Hey, I think this is a great pick for them. He will bring stability to them. Now, is he going to be an all-timer? I don't know, because he's very small. But if he hits, he's going to hit. This guy was clearly the best quarterback available in this draft. I think he was the second best quarterback in college football last year, behind Caleb Williams. But that guy's another talk for another time. But he just had such command of that offense at Alabama. I think it was a great pick. I think he's extremely smart, had the best cognitive result test ever by a quarterback. And so I'm excited for Carolina. They got a guy, little small, so luckily they took a few linemen last year to protect him. But I really like Bryce Young here.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's great. Bryce Young, 5'10", 204. For the quarterback, definitely one of the he's the smallest of the top quarterbacks by far. CJ Stroud, 6'3", 214, who I think is coming up next. Houston is on the clock. Who do you like for Houston, Team Money? I'm going CJ Stroud. I need that to come home. And I like to see the Buckeyes, big, rangy, running quarterback. Come on, man. Go for the franchise guy.
All right. I mean, if I got to choose someone here for the Texans, I actually think I'm going to go defense. I don't think any of these quarterbacks in this draft are generational. And when you are,
whoa,
I'm going to stand my, I'm going to plant my flag in this. I do not think any of these teams are generational. And so I think that they need to wait a year, because I love Drake May and I love me some Caleb Williams. And if these Houston Texans can get Caleb Williams next year, they just got a new head coach, reset this thing, do it like they do out in San Francisco with DeMeco Ryans, with their new head coach. And I go Will Anderson, best player in the draft, SEC Defensive Player of the Year. And he can be a perennial Pro Bowler and all-pro player to staple your defense, and you can wait a year. I'd wait this year out, man. I just don't think there's a generational talent at quarterback. And worst comes to worst, they have the 12th pick. And could you get Anthony Richardson to sit a year? Could you,
I think you're underestimating this quarterback class, man. I agree with you. Last year, that would have been true, but this year you've got some franchise guys, man. I really think you're counting these guys short. This is a top-notch group right here. Last year we had nothing. Who was our top pick last year? What's his name from Pittsburgh? I can't even remember his name. He was like 20th.
I agree with you. That was maybe the worst quarterbacking class ever. Don't get me wrong here.
Malik Willis was the top pick, right?
No. It was Kenny Pickett. Then it was Desmond Ridder. Then it was Malik Willis. But let me just say, I have a hard time trusting CJ Stroud. And that's purely because of Ohio State's system. This guy had Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, and Jackson Smith and Jigba, all top 20 picks as his wide receiver at Ohio State. Most of his throws are very predetermined, and there are a lot of small over the middle slants. And if they're open, they're wide open. So I just struggle with some of these, especially now with that kind of receiver talent. You don't see a lot of popular Ohio State quarterbacks in the NFL because they just don't perform well. So that's my kind of read on CJ Stroud here. He also had a horrible S2 cognitive test, horrible, to the fact that he had to come out and say, I don't take tests. I'm here to play football.
Yeah, he had one bad test. I don't know that I would grade him low because of that. There's been a lot of quarterbacks that probably rated low on that test.
I'm not
that have been great.
Like I said, I'm not rating him low. I'm just saying, for the second
overall
pick in my franchise quarterback, would I take CJ Stroud 10th? I would. But would I take him second? I don't know.
Well, let's go to Houston. Houston was 3-13 last year. The Colts barely beat them out. They're 4-12, and those are your 2-4 picks this year. And then we've got the Titans. What do you think about that division? The Titans at 7-10, and up at the top were the Jags at 9-8. So can Houston get in contention this year with this second pick that they're making?
I don't think Houston's going to be in contention no matter what. I think the Titans are a good organization. Derrick Henry's a beast. Ryan Tannehill's professional. They're going to probably be second. The Jags have this division pretty much locked up. And then Carolina, let's be honest, they're going to be okay. So, I think it's pretty much a foregone conclusion the Jags win this thing. So
I still got Houston on the clock here. This is a long clock on Houston. Maybe there's a trade going down. There is word that there's a trade going down. Someone that wants a quarterback more than Houston might be moving up and trying to get that second pick.
Hey, man, that's what I've heard. Especially someone like the Titans or the Colts might be moving up even higher. So I would keep an eye on someone to move up to second or even third to move into this position.
Well, word is those Colts are Just trying to sit loose and hope what happens, what you described. If Houston and who's the next
The
pick?
Cardinals.
Houston and the Cardinals both go defense, then the Colts sit there pretty and they get their quarterback.
Yep. I can see that. So we
So
got one guy drafted from Bryce Young, right? First,
Bryce Young is in. Yeah.
Bryce Young's drafted. He's actually, and you'll find this pretty surprising here, Gary, first ever Alabama player to go number 1 overall.
And first Alabama quarterback to win the Heisman.
Yep. And so a lot of people just remember these amazing Nick Saban championships and all these great players. Never had anyone drafted number 1 overall. So good for Alabama. I'm sure Nick Saban is selling this. But Bryce Young with a really, really great year or two here. I'm just concerned about his size only. Everything else, check. If this guy stays healthy, he can be in the league for a long time. He's extremely smart. He's a really, really gifted quarterback. He's got like some crazy instincts to him. So excited to see him in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, we got a little bit of time here, T-Money. And we're here with the live draft, everybody. Live on the draft. We had the first pick go, Bryce Young to Carolina. We're waiting on the clock here for Houston. It's sitting at still about 4 minutes. And so we're trying to get this Texans pick. They might be trading T-Money. We had some quarterback news today. Lamar Jackson closes his deal. He got it done. Looking at the numbers here, T-Money, it looks like 70% guaranteed for Lamar Jackson, $185 million deal, $5 million more than Jalen Hurts. They both have 70% guaranteed, both he and Jalen Hurts.
Oh, man. I mean, great for Lamar. I think Jalen Hurts getting paid might have kind of set him straight a little bit. Let's just say set him straight a little bit. So I think that is the big reason here that he didn't get the fully guaranteed deal that he wanted. So,
but I like that he negotiated that. He got a little bit more than Jalen Hurts. So he, in terms of pay per year, he's number 1. In terms of pay per year, he just doesn't have 100% guaranteed, which all the owners said they're not doing another 100% guaranteed deal. But the top 5 quarterbacks now, in terms of pay, T-Money, 2 of them are good. One of them is very good. That's Jalen Hurts. I'll consider Lamar Jackson good. I mean, he's been out. He was out since week 13, and they lost in the playoffs. So, I mean, there's a question there. But the other 3 guys were terrible. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. Those are 3 of the top 5 highly paid quarterbacks. And you're going to see in this draft, you're going to see those picks that those teams gave away to get those quarterbacks.
I know. So Lamar Jackson, finally the highest paid player in the NFL. Good for him. I would have rushed to take that money as well. You know what I mean?
$52 million a year on average.
Yep, $52 million a year on average. So,
and he's 51 is Jalen Hurts, and then 50 is Aaron Rodgers. Is $50 million. He's 3rd in terms of pay per year. And what do you think about him going over to the Jets as we wait here for the pick is in, I understand, for Carolina.
All right. For Carolina or for Houston?
For Houston, the pick is in.
All right. Pick is in. Yeah, we'll see what Aaron Rodgers does here. So,
what do you think?
They're not going to do anything. That's what I think. I think end of story.
What? My God.
They'll be lucky to make the playoffs. Let's just
talk
about that another day.
We talked about
that.
We talked about this Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. We've predicted that's the best spot for Aaron Rodgers. That's the spot for Aaron. New York Jets. That's it. That's the spot. I've been saying that for 6 months. I thought you agreed.
Look, am I saying it's the spot? Sure.
Best spot for him.
Is he the 7th best quarterback in the AFC? That's also true. So good luck making the Super Bowl.
Yeah, well, that AFC got a little bit tougher though with him in there. They're going to be a better team with him. They have the defense.
Okay. I mean, yeah, sure. I guess they'll be a wild card. Like, congratulations.
Okay. Yeah, it sounds like you got something personal against Aaron Rodgers.
I just think he's overrated. He won an MVP, sure. But let's pump the brakes a little bit. Is he better than Patrick Mahomes? This is what I'm saying. I'm getting to this. He's not better than Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Trevor Lawrence, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and you can make arguments for other players and Justin Herbert. That's 6 teams already. He's not even the best quarterback in his own division. So I can't get on this right now. The Dolphins have a much better roster, and the Patriots are always tough. You're going to barely make the playoffs.
Yeah,
that's how I feel about it.
Jets definitely came on last year. They kind of fizzled out at the end. You're right. Ended up 7-10. The Patriots beat them out.
Yeah,
but they were on a roll for a while.
7-10. Aaron Rodgers isn't worth, a 13-4 season. So
I think he's going to pick him up, Team Money. I think he is going to pick him up. I think he's going to get a couple of years in there.
That means they make the playoffs, and good for them.
Okay, I'll give you that. They make the playoffs. They make the playoffs.
That's what I just said. He's a wild card.
It's a tough AFC group there, though, with those quarterbacks. Adding him to the mix now, and I think that probably spurred the Ravens to sign Lamar. Like, wow, we better, get our quarterback locked down here.
Probably, man, probably.
So Bryce Young has accepted, and now we're waiting for the Texans pick, and following them will be the Cardinals. The Cardinals already have their quarterback, so they're not going to be drafting a quarterback. They're going to be going for a defensive player most likely, or they'll trade that spot.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. I want to go back real quickly to the first overall pick. I know we've been getting derailed here a few times. I want to focus on the draft here. I want to hear about what your thoughts are now that Bryce Young's with your favorite buddy, Frank Reich.
That's funny. Well, hey, Carolina does not have an explosive offense. Now they have a good defense, but their offense was missing a lot of things. And Bryce Young makes them better. But what will Reich do? Yeah, that's a good question. He's so conservative and so predictable. So Bryce Young knows how to play within a system. I think he'll play within that system. He'll be better than Frank Reich's other quarterbacks. I think Frank Reich learned, hey, let's don't go with a veteran again because the veterans let him down. So he goes out and gets Bryce Young, who's going to be the best quarterback he's coached in a long time.
All right. Do you like the pick for them? Do you like Frank Reich moving forward? Do you see them being successful in a few years? What are your thoughts?
I like that one. I like Carolina. I don't know how, that division's kind of up for grabs there. We got Tampa was 8-9. Carolina, the Saints and Falcons were all 7-10. So that division's up for grabs, as you know. Tampa's, without Brady. So, hey man, they make a move here. Their defense is solid. Maybe they could potentially win the division. I'm not saying they are. I'll give my picks to you later. We do have our second pick in. Pick is announced. I'm looking at all the different. I got a couple different monitors going here, and it's a CJ Stroud Team Money for that second pick.
CJ Stroud. All right.
The Buckeye quarterback going to Houston. They needed a quarterback. They got a quarterback.
Yes, they did. Good for them. I think this is a solid pick. I think it's a safe pick. It might be a little bit safe, but hey, I like it. CJ's solid. He's very accurate. He's clearly able to read coverages and, just had a phenomenal season or two at Ohio State. I always worry just based on generational talents, especially being in the AFC. That's just so tough in that division, or in that conference, I mean. So that's my biggest concern with CJ Stroud. Can you picture that guy being the best in the conference? I don't know. With Caleb Williams or someone like Drake May, you might be able to convince me of that. But I like it. They need to stabilize that quarterback position. Good for the Texans getting their guy.
Well, what do you think? Is he, we got Jacksonville Jags quarterback, who I know you love. Who do you think's better?
Trevor Lawrence?
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence or CJ Stroud. What do you think?
I think they're stratospheres apart.
I know you love Trevor Lawrence.
I think
So you,
I think CJ Stroud is probably closer to Zach Wilson than he is to Trevor Lawrence. Let's just say that.
oh man, I don't know, man. I don't
Extremely
know.
accurate and a good decision,
Yeah,
behind a great offensive line, really good senior wide receivers, and all these things in a great system, yada, yada, yada. Trevor Lawrence was the number one player coming out of high school.
he
Won
has
a
not played
national
well though.
title. Trevor Lawrence hasn't played well.
Last year he played well, but before that he hadn't.
Okay, he hadn't, but the recruiting and the levels of, like, he was the number one pick, no doubt. There wasn't a question. I mean,
Well,
10 minutes ago, I just said CJ Stroud might not go in the top 10. They're just in different stratospheres. That's all I'm trying to say.
yeah. Okay. Well, so far I've gotten my first. I've gotten my first 2 picks, T-Money, from a big bet that I gave all the fans out there.
Oh boy.
I told you one. I told you 1, 2. I told you who those were. Now we need Smith and Jigba to be the first wide receiver taken, and G-Man just gave a nice winner out to start the year.
Hey, let me say this. I do think CJ Stroud is more pro ready than Justin Fields. How about that?
Yeah, I agree.
How about that?
He can throw the ball down the field.
I really do like CJ. I think he's solid. Like I said, I think he's a top 10 worthy quarterback. I just don't know if I'm Carolina, I take CJ Stroud or Bryce Young all day, because you only have to go up against Jalen Hurts. He's the only guy in your way. San Francisco doesn't have a quarterback. Kirk Cousins, Dak Prescott, they don't scare you. Aaron Rodgers just left. In the NFC, I'm taking any of these guys that I think can be mediocre.
Let's move on and talk about this hat that I've got right here. And all you fans out there, get the hats coming in, man. I got all kinds of hats tonight. When that pick comes up, I'm wearing your hat. Arizona Cardinals, baby. Pick number 3. Will the Cardinals pick? Will they make a pick, or will they trade and give this pick up? T-Money, what's your prediction?
Ooh, that's a spicy one. I'm saying they're going to trade it. I think they're going to trade it.
I think they might trade it too.
Yeah, I think they're going to trade it. There's just been too much speculation about this. I think they know that they need to get deeper. They need a lot of help in a lot of places. I also think they know that this year is pretty much a wash, because Kyler Murray is gone with an ACL tear. And so, they're not going all in. They need picks. They need depth. They need a lot of help at a lot of different positions too. They need help on offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, cornerback. They have a lot of questions. And so,
yes,
I do think that they're going to
and a new head coach,
new GM. I think there's a lot to go through here. So yeah, I'm trading because I think someone like Tennessee, who's 11th, might trade up with you, and you still have a top 11 pick where you can still get one of the best O-line or defensive line prospects. That's my guess. I would be shocked. Maybe they're in love with Will Anderson, and that's totally fine. Will Anderson is off the charts, but I would trade it if I had the ability to still stay in the top 15 or so.
I would assume could get a great deal here to trade for someone that wants a quarterback. They could get a lot of capital for that. I think that's the smartest move. I agree with you. Let's see if they do that. Kyler Murray, coming off of that ACL, the Cardinals were 4-13, Rams were 5-12. And then they got the Seahawks, who made the playoffs. And then, of course, the 49ers up at the top of that NFC West. The Cardinals are going to have a tough year, man. They got to build for the future.
Yep, they got to build for the future here, and that's my biggest reason for trading down. They're already out the year. We all know that they're not making the playoffs. So that's my biggest reason for trading out. If Kyler Murray was healthy, I would say take Will Anderson, roll the dice, don't trade D-Hop, all these things, right? It completely changes your mindset. but
Yeah.
he's hurt. He's out. So you got to reset a little bit here. So I don't know. What do you see? They trading this thing? Is the pick in? Where are they at right now?
I don't. They're still on the clock. Still on the clock. Their needs are guard, center, defensive line, edge rusher, cornerback. I got a lot of needs, man. They got a lot of needs, but not at the skilled, not at the skilled positions. We're not saying skilled position is a need for them.
Well, let me say this: they trade down to like I said, I think 10 to 15 is perfect for this team because they have a lot of flexibility to do what they want to do. Imagine Bijan Robinson on this team. Whew. That would be nice. D-Hop and Marquise on the outside. And then you got Bijan Robinson back there to help relieve Kyler Murray a little bit. That's the perfect spot, I think, for someone like him. But they need a lot more than just a running back. They need help everywhere.
Well, talking about running backs, since we have a little time here, talking about the running backs, the odds were 1.5 running backs, between 1 and 2 running backs taken in the first round. That's on DraftKings Sportsbook. Kind of crazy, isn't it? But the top running back, Bijan Robinson, in terms of you fantasy players out there, the number 1 fantasy player, Bijan Robinson. So even though he may go 8th, 9th, or 10th in that area, he's the number 1 guy for fantasy drafters this year.
Yep. He's going to be the first in Dynasty for sure. That's no doubt. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens here. I do think. Go ahead. Oh, they just traded the pick here, G-Man. They traded the pick?
No, I don't.
To the Texans.
Oh, no, hold on. You sure?
I just got word here. Let me see. Todd McShay, is that you?
Okay. I got Cardinals taking Will Anderson. Maybe I have a different I do see Hopkins. Hopkins received permission from the Cardinals to seek a trade.
So I don't know what you're looking at, but that is not what I'm seeing live right now.
DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins is seeking a trade. Yeah, you're right. I do see a trade. For you're
Texans. G-Man, it's Houston Texans. DeAndre
Will Anderson
was allowed to. Okay,
Will Anderson to Houston. Will Anderson to Houston is the trade. Will Anderson. Houston took the pick. The trade you're talking about. Will Anderson is the selection for Houston. Houston gets CJ Stroud and they get Will Anderson. Look at their new coach making moves, man.
Wow. What a great move. Moving up. That is phenomenal. And like I said, the Cardinals move into perfect position. They move into 12th now. Like I said, I think that was perfect. Moving back into 10 to 15. They just listen to T-Money. Like I said, they get the best pick in the draft in Will Anderson. They get a top quarterback in the draft. Great job, Texans. I think this is phenomenal work by them. Everyone's going to say that they wanted Jackson Smith and Jigba to go there. People do forget, John Mechie was drafted there last year. People forget about him. He had leukemia his rookie year.
Yeah. Mechie's back, right.
He's now over that and on and upward and in OTAs.
Wow.
So they are
What a buzz here. What a buzz here for Houston. Houston making moves with a new quarterback, new coach that they got from San Fran. San Fran with a big year. They lose their D coordinator. He goes to Houston, and he locks down the 2 and 3 picks with 2 big players. Now, CJ Stroud and Will Anderson. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, great move. I am already saying that Texans won this draft. Like I said, I think CJ Stroud is a top 10 pick here. And I do think Will Anderson was number 1 on my personal board, even over Bryce Young. And I love this. I would have picked Will Anderson number 1 overall, and I think CJ Stroud is a great, great quarterback. I know I'm hating on him a little bit earlier, but I think he's a top 10 guy. I think this is a great draft.
Yeah.
Great
Yeah, Will Anderson.
draft. Great move.
I like that they're aggressive. They're going after it in Houston. They want to win that division, and it is winnable, Team Money.
Yes.
Jacksonville is playing great, and they're probably the favorite. But they only finished 9-8. I think this is a division that they could make a run at if they get these kind of players. My gosh, can they pick up someone else?
Hey, what do you think about the last suggestion? I'm just throwing out things as I hear it. I said Cardinals trade down to 10 to 15, and look what they do. They go to 12. Team Money's on this shit. Okay. Anyways, Texans.
I got Cardinals at 12. I agree. Cardinals at 12.
Right? Texans, do me a favor. Just do this for me. Trade into the first round and go get you Jordan Addison.
Well, let me tell you something. That 12th pick that they just used, that 12th pick that was the Deshaun Watson, Houston to Cleveland. Yeah, that was Cleveland giving up that pick for Deshaun that was just used there. How about that?
Pick. That's pretty crazy. The ramifications of that Deshaun Watson's pick now turns into Will Anderson. Good for the Texans resetting here. I'm excited for them.
And we've got coming up, speaking of those kind of trades, 4 is Indy. Let's talk about Indy in a second. But the 5 and 6 picks are also quarterback trades. 5 is going to be Seattle picking, but they got that from Denver. That was the Russell trade. And the 6th pick is Detroit that they got from the Rams. And the Rams were going crazy trying to get their team together.
Yep.
With Stafford.
It's going to be, I think, the
5th and 6th pick, both the quarterback, going after big quarterbacks.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's going to be very interesting because I think Seattle is the biggest swing pendulum here. They could move up to 3 or to 4. They could try to get a quarterback. They could go Jalen Carter. They could move down. I have no idea. These guys have 2 picks in this draft, and they were a playoff team last year. They signed Geno Smith, but they need to get younger. The Seahawks are the biggest question mark of anyone in this draft.
Well, we're going to try to stay with you, fans. Send us a text or a message if you want us to stay on. We're planning on maybe 10 more minutes, but if you want us to stay a few more minutes, let us know. Drop us that note. Team Money, I got a pick in already for pick number 4. The Indianapolis Colts have selected their quarterback, Team Money, Anthony Richardson for the Colts. Anthony Richardson, they go for the big-time athlete.
Look, let me just say this. All right.
What are you going to say?
If I was picking a quarterback in this draft, he would have probably been the guy I go for. And here's why.
Okay.
Like I said, I love Bryce Young, but he's 5'9", 5'10". He's tiny. He's going to get killed out there. CJ Stroud, I don't know if I trust the system. I think he's a top 10 guy. I think both of those guys are top 10 guys, but Anthony Richardson has the ability to be the best quarterback in the NFL. Not in his division and not in his conference. The guy has the best measurables of any quarterback ever.
Yeah.
And if they can get it right, he has elite capability.
So who is their quarterback coach? They need a quarterback coach in Indy to get.
Well, you know who they needed? They needed Frank Reich.
No. Yeah, you might be right. Maybe he's a quarterback coach. You could be right.
They needed to not fire Frank Reich, and that was the dumbest thing they could have done because he's a quarterback whisperer. Oh man!
So we got 3. We got 3 quarterbacks in the first 4 picks, Team Money already. Bryce Young at 1, CJ Stroud at 2. It's Anthony Richardson that goes at 4, and the Seahawks are now on the clock with that 5th pick. What are you thinking for the Seahawks, Team Money? They got this pick from Denver in the Russell Wilson trade, and now Seattle's reaping the rewards, Team Money.
I have no idea. That's where I'm at with the Seahawks. I have no idea. If I was the Seahawks, I would have drafted Anthony Richardson. I think he was perfect for that culture.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Sitting behind Geno for 2 years.
Yeah.
My dream scenario was Anthony Richardson going to the Seahawks. I'm shocked that the Colts took him. I think that just seems like a reach to put him out there in year one. I don't like it. But
it might be Will Levis, T-Money. It might be Will Levis.
No, they're not going to go Will Levis. Please don't do that. He's overrated.
Well, they want to put someone behind Geno. He'd be the next guy in line right there.
Don't do it. Don't do it. Trade down. I'm taking Jalen Carter from these.
Trade down. All right.
Look,
okay.
Because they have a second round pick, I'm not trading down. Or they have a second first round pick. Apologies. I'm taking Jalen Carter before his supposed incident with the racing of cars and someone passed away in Georgia.
He's dropping.
He was the number one overall prospect by a mile. Okay.
Yeah.
Take Jalen Carter. He's great for the culture, and he'll fit in with the culture. He'll help everyone there. The Seahawks, Pete Carroll will help him get things on track. I really like Jalen Carter to the Seahawks to help that defense. The defense was really leaky. They have a great back end with some young cornerbacks they took. I really like Jalen Carter to the Seahawks, G-Man. Big time. Take Jalen Carter.
Okay. You're going to take a chance on him. He got in trouble, T-Money. That's bad judgment. You never know, man. How about instead of that, go for that first cornerback, Devin Witherspoon. Load up that defense back there for Seattle. They love to play with cornerbacks. He's a little bit smaller. You might be right. If it's Seattle, they might take the bigger corner, the one that you like, which is what's his name? Christian Gonzalez. 6'1", 200 pounds.
I don't mind it because you can never have enough cornerbacks in the NFL because of how elite these receivers are now. But their man, Tyreek Woolen, that they drafted last year as a rookie, he was an all-pro kind of guy. He had multiple interceptions. He was phenomenal, and he's a rookie. So I think need-wise, they have no one on that defensive line. They have no way to stop the run right now, and big boy Jalen Carter could just clog that lane. My God, he's a man amongst man. Like he is huge. He's a beast. He's so athletic. I think this is a no-brainer. I'd be running the card up right now for Jalen Carter if I was the Seahawks.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. I still show them on the clock here. Seattle Seahawks on the clock for the 5th pick. T-Money and I are going overtime. We tried to keep our show to 45 minutes tonight. We're going a little bit over here, but hope you're having fun with us. The 2023 live draft here with T-Money and G-Man, Father, Son, and Holy Sport. NFL show taking you through the draft live. One day we'll be there in person.
Yeah.
T-Money and I in the parking lot having this show, man. We gave you some picks. We gave you some highlights here already. Let's see what happens here with these Seahawks on the clock. Maybe they go, I don't know what they'll go.
That's what's crazy. They've been the biggest wild card in this draft, G-Man. That's what I'm trying to say. I think they would have selected Anthony Richardson if he was there and available. I don't think Will Levis really fits their timeline and their culture. And, I'm just not sold on Will Levis personally. A lot of guys that are stocky and just have hard mechanics when they're throwing, they really don't succeed in the NFL. You got to be more fluid. And that's why that TB12 plyometric weirdo stuff with bands that he does is so good. I don't like Will Levis a lot. So I am totally on this Jalen Carter train. But hey, if you want to trade down a few picks for someone that's panicking and wants Will Levis, I'm not opposed to it as well. You know me, Mr. Trade down and collect the picks.
Yeah. All right, I like that. Well, I show the needs for the Seahawks at guard and at center, and edge rusher, defensive line. I mean, that's what I'm showing on my board here in terms of their needs there, man, for Seattle. I think they were thrown by that whole pick right there. They wanted maybe Richardson.
I think
and now they threw him for a loop here, but they had to be ready for that just in case it happened.
Yep, I think they were thrown for a loop for sure. What I'm saying is take Jalen Carter here. I know they need offensive line help. I think that's a bit of a reach for some of those, like the kid from Northwestern, the kid from Georgia, Paris from Ohio State. What I'm doing, I'm taking the best guy here. I'm taking Jalen Carter. And then at the pick 20, if one of my 3 top offensive linemen, which are the 3 I just mentioned, Northwestern, Ohio State, and Georgia, Broderick Jones, I think from Georgia, Peters Lewinsky from Northwestern. If those guys drop into the 15 range, I'm going to see if I can move up from Seahawks 20th spot to that 15 spot. Grab that top offensive lineman on my board. Now I got to go with my best defensive lineman on my board. I got a top 10 overall potential quality pick in an offensive lineman. That's kind of my thought here.
I kind of like the offensive lineman. They need help there. Peter Skoronski from Northwestern, 6'4", 313. I like that for these Seattle Seahawks. They'd like to establish a running game.
Yeah. Kenneth Walker looks great. So they got a great young run game. They got the two wide receivers outside. I like it a lot.
Yeah, go with that offensive lineman. I show Jalen Carter is the best talent on the board right now and available, but he got in trouble and he fell down because of that. That's the only reason he's fallen. Otherwise, he'd have been probably taken already.
Yeah.
So it's how far will he fall? He's one of those players, T-Money. We've had it happen every year where a player drops for some reason that nobody really can see in advance, and it happens. I'm still showing Seattle on the clock. I don't show a pick in yet.
What do you Seattle, think? What do you suggest they do? Do you like offensive linemen here? You like trading down? You like Jalen Carter? Where's your head at? Because these Seahawks are just one big question mark to me. I keep saying this, but they could literally do anything. I have no idea.
Well, they made the playoffs. They have made a great move with this Russell Wilson trade. They picked up these picks that they're getting now from that trade. Geno, they locked in. Geno's not there forever. Geno's older, so he's got a couple years of this. So they need to really get, they need to get a backup quarterback, a quarterback for the future. And I think continue to build up that line so they can run Walker. So I think offensive line, backup quarterback. I'm okay with Will Levis if they go with him.
Very interesting. I would personally prefer these guys to maybe go Hendon Hooker. He kind of reminds me Geno Smith-esque. If you could get him in the second round, I think that would be a pretty solid future for this guy, because Hendon Hooker would have been a mid-first round pick if he didn't tear his ACL and maybe had gone on to play in the college football playoff and etc. I think Hendon Hooker has a lot of potential. A lot of people don't like him because he's older, but I think the Seahawks like those kind of guys, the underappreciated, overlooked kind of older guys that are smarter. I really like Hendon Hooker. To sit behind Geno Smith here. He just reminds me so much of Geno Smith that he
has the arm. Like Geno. He has the arm. He has the running ability, but he does have the red flags you mentioned. His age, 25 years old, and that torn ACL in November. We got the pick in, T-Money.
All right.
T-Money. You're not gonna believe this. First cornerback taken. G-Man called it. Devin Witherspoon from Illinois. Witherspoon. Man. Goes as the first cornerback. Cornerbacks are big in these drafts. Hey, Devin Witherspoon. I thought cornerback. I mentioned cornerback, T-Money. I just thought they'd go with I thought they'd go with your guy because he's bigger. Christian is a bigger cornerback, and I know they like big cornerbacks, but they went with a smaller one. Devin Witherspoon's a little smaller. Then
maybe Tyreek Woolen's a little bit bigger, the cornerback that they already have, that rookie. I just think you can't go wrong having two corners to lock down, and just stuffing if you can get two guys on an island, because right now the Jets can be like, hey, Sauce, take that one receiver out of the game, right? If they can get two guys that do that, you're set. You don't need to worry about defensive linemen because you can stuff the box. So like I said, neither of us could guess this. Who would have thought the Seahawks go corner? You mentioned it a little bit, but none of us were confident. You really just didn't know with these Seahawks. They go with a corner. You can't go wrong. He's definitely worth a top 5 pick ability wise. So excited for Devin Witherspoon, and congrats to Illinois throwing out some top draft pick status here.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And G-Man, getting closer to the bet that I gave you all before the draft. First cornerback taken, Devin Witherspoon is correct. Moving our way toward our big parlay there. We need wide receiver to go before we cut off the clock here for father-son. so that we can see if JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba, JSN, we want to see if JSN is the first wide receiver
Oh, that's
taken.
gonna be a little bit. That's gonna be a little bit. So this might be
Well,
the end here because he's probably not going till maybe around 12, I would guess.
well,
So
let's look at last year, Team Money. The wide receivers merely made a run from 8 to 12, as you said, 8 to 12 last year.
yeah.
8th pick was Drake London, 10th pick Garrett Wilson, 11th pick Olave, 12th pick Jamison Williams. They had
Yep.
4 out of 5 picks from 8 to 12 wide receivers.
Pretty crazy, man. Good for the Seahawks. I think Njigba's going to be a little bit further, but yeah, Seahawks, congrats. Still got another one at 20. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of this fleshes out, man. Exciting.
Well, let's ride through this Lions pick and then we'll sign off here and let people go. What do you think, Team Money?
I think they're going to go corner as well. They need big time help on the back end. Their offensive line is solid. They got Aiden Hutchinson for the defensive line last year. Running back, they already got Swift, and they have Jamison Williams and Amon St. Brown at at wide receiver. They are set at a lot of positions, like set, really good. They need corner help bad. This is going to be run the card up. Christian Gonzalez, no questions asked. They're taking the cornerback from Oregon. I think he's the best cornerback in the draft. It's not a question. This guy's going to be drafted. That's who they need.
Detroit has their 18th pick, which they had themselves. They picked up the Rams, and that's why they have the 6th pick. So they got 6 and 18. So a little bit of strategy here for the Lions. You know, who can they get at 6 and still get someone that they want at 18?
Yeah.
But maybe they go with just the best player available here.
I mean,
last year,
wow, you put Jalen Carter with Aiden Hutchinson.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Last year, they get Aiden Hutchinson as the number 2 pick. The guy kills it. Can they get someone matched up with him? That'd be amazing, as you said.
Yeah, I did hear someone say when I was looking at some mock drafts that they would love Jalen Carter with Aiden Hutchinson as his defensive line leader, just because of the leadership that guy brings, the commitment, the dedication, and the effort every play that guy puts in. That they said if Jalen Carter was sitting there and Aiden Hutchinson could be his mentor, my God, that could be a lethal combination on the defensive line for many, many years to come.
Yeah, so we've got 3 of the 4 quarterbacks taken out of the first 4, and then we get Will Anderson in there on defense, Devin Witherspoon on defense, the 2 defenders now. We're on the 6th pick, our final pick of the NFL show here for you. We're taking you home through the Lions pick. Lions had a big draft last year, picking up Hutchinson and later Jamison Williams. So they did a great job, and they had a great year, Team Money.
Oh, man. They got Jamison Williams coming back. I'm a little disappointed. This whole betting thing he got suspended for. I think that's a bunch of bogus. He didn't even bet on the NFL. I guess you're just not allowed to bet on any sports on NFL campuses, which is crazy. But that's another conversation for another time. Jamison Williams is a talent. I thought he was the best receiver in last year's draft, personally, although he was injured in that national championship. They're set, man. I'm excited for these Lions. It's shocking to say that these guys could get even better, but they need help on the back end. I really don't see a lot of holes here.
Team Money, we got a big change here. I'm showing a trade. You showing that? I show the Cardinals. The Cardinals took the Lions pick. Are you showing that also?
I am a few seconds behind you, G-Man. The Cardinals trade back up, huh?
Cardinals get it. Cardinals get the pick.
Wow.
Yeah, they give up that 3rd pick to Houston. They now are on that 6th slot. They got the 6th. I don't have the details on the trade.
All right. Hey, this has got to be Jalen Carter then. This does not. I don't see a reason to trade back up unless you think there's a generational talent in this draft. And Jalen Carter was supposed to be number 1. How many times have I said Jalen Carter's freaking name tonight? I don't even know.
You love him. You love him. Just call him JC.
JC,
call him
baby.
JC.
Hey, JC, listen to JC. Listen to T Money, okay? Listen here. All right, JC, your boy T Money, right here. All right, listen. It's clearly once again. How many times do I have to say run the card up? Okay, they're running the card up, and this is Jalen Carter, no question.
You're not going to get off the line until Jalen Carter goes.
We're gonna.
He might. He could slide to 20. You never.
I mean, jeez. If no one takes Jalen Carter, we're going to be recording here all night.
That's hilarious.
We're going to end up on Kansas City's team as the best player in the draft. What are you talking about?
And then sitting there at number 7 is the Raiders. The Raiders are like, what the heck's going on here?
Okay,
Raiders just kind of sitting around.
I know.
Number 7.
I'm saying this again. To the Raiders. I know we're not going to be probably live when we listen to this. It's the last one we're going to do here. Got to get offline here. Raiders, run the card in. Take the defensive back. You have the worst pass defense in the NFL for like years and years and years running right now. Just take Christian Gonzalez and shut up. All right.
Okay. So you want him to go corner? At the Raiders?
You already have Max Crosby. You don't need Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. You got Max Crosby.
Nobody going for Peter Skoronski, the tackle from Northwestern yet. He's not going. No offense. They don't like offensive tackles here tonight, or offensive linemen. Wait, hold on. The pick is in. And it is an offensive tackle, but it's not Skoronski. It's the Buckeyes, Paris Johnson Jr. Paris Johnson becomes the first offensive tackle ahead of Skoronski.
I am off my game tonight.
How about that for the Cardinals pick up that offensive line there, Team Money? Never can complain about the offensive line.
I am shocked, to say the least. Everyone thought Peter Skoronski would be the first guy to go. No one thought Paris Johnson would even go in the top 7. So to trade up for this is shocking. I would have waited till at least pick 8 for this guy, maybe 9. I am actually shocked. I think they paid way too much to move up, giving a second round pick for that. I am shocked. I think that was a bad move. I think he would have been around. I know the Cardinals need offensive line help, but wow, that was shocking.
I got Paris Johnson as the second best tackle, but certainly Skoronski had ranked ahead of him.
Yeah, and
Detroit, Paris Johnson a little bit bigger, 6'6", 313. Skoronski 6'4", 313.
And you just look at all the mock drafts. Like Detroit didn't need offensive linemen, Vegas didn't need offensive linemen, Atlanta didn't need offensive linemen. No one needed anyone till pick 9. And they traded up from 12. To go to 6 for a second rounder. They could have waited a few more and maybe given up a 4th. I think it was a bad decision.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, it's funny to see these teams moving that got these old, trade picks. Seattle picking up a pick from Russell Wilson, and Detroit with this pick from the Rams and Stafford. And then Chicago giving up that pick to Carolina for the number 1. It's funny to see. Now they're moving around, jiggling around. The Cardinals making moves, and the Houston Texans making moves.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to dive deep into some of the rest of the draft picks next week after we see the full draft, and we'll give our best and worst and what we liked and what we didn't like after we deep dive and we see the full repertoire of these picks.
I just want you Colts to know. I didn't forget about you. Anthony Richardson, baby. Go do it, Colts. Take some of the pressure off my man, JT. Hey, we love you out there. We can't wait to spend time with you this year. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. It's been great. On behalf of Team Money, I'm G-Man. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Peace.